Croatian-Serbian relations are foreign relations between Croatia and Serbia. Both countries established diplomatic relations on September 9, 1996, following the end of Croatian War of Independence. From 1918 to 1991, both countries were part of Yugoslavia. They now share 241 kilometers of common border. In the 2011 Croatian census, there were 186,633 people of Serbian descent living in Croatia. In the 2011 Serbian census, there were 57,900 people of Croatian descent living in Serbia. Smaller lasting disputes include border disputes over the island of Sarangrad and the island of Vukovar. Croatia has an embassy in Belgrade and a general consulate in Subotica. Serbia has an embassy in Zagreb and two general consulates, one in Rijeka and one in Vukovar. History. During Duke Munchamir of Croatia's reign, the exiled Prince Peter Gojniković of the Serbian House of Vlastimirović stayed in Croatia during his exile and later returned to Russia and seized power there. Prince Peter exiled his cousins who were pretenders to the Grand Princely throne, Pribislav, Bran and Stefan, whom Munchamir received and put under his protection. With the nation-building process in mid-19th century, first Croatian-Serbian tension appeared. Serbian minister Ilija Garazanin's Načetan EU claimed lands that were inhabited by Bulgarians, Macedonians, Albanians, Montenegrins, Bosnians, Hungarians and Croats were part of Serbia. Garazanin's plan also includes methods of spreading Serbian influence in the claimed lands. He proposed ways to influence Croats, who Garazanin regarded as Serbs of Catholic faith. This plan considered surrounding peoples to be devoid of national consciousness. The Vuk Karadzic in the 1850s then denied the existence of Croatians and Croatian language, counting them as Catholic Serbs. Croatia was at the time a kingdom in Habsburg monarchy, with Dalmatia and Istria being separate Habsburg crown lands. Ante Starčević, head of the Croatian Party of Rights, proved that Croats and Croatia do exist and reciprocated, denying Serbia. After Austro-Hungary occupied Bosnia and Herzegovina in 1878 and Serbia gained its independence from Ottoman Empire, Croatian and Serbian relations deteriorated as both sides had pretensions on Bosnia and Herzegovina. In 1902, major anti-Serb riots in Croatia were caused by a reprinted article written by Serb Nikola Stojanović that was published in the publication of the Serbian Independent Party from Zagreb titled Do Istraživanje, in which denying of the existence of Croat nation as well as forecasting the result of the inevitable Serbian-Croatian conflict occurred. That combat has to be led till the destruction, either ours or yours. One side must succumb. That side will be Croatians, due to the minority geographical position, mingling with Serbs, and because the process of evolution means Serbhood is equal to progress. After Balkan Wars, a part of Croats began to envisage Serbia to be to the other South Slavs what Piedmont was to other Italians, a unifying force that will help create an independent South Slavic state. In World War I, Croats fought in Austro-Hungarian army against Serbia, while Croatian General Ivan Salasiwa was a military governor of occupied Serbia. Some Croat powers volunteered to fight in the Slaniki battlefront with Serbian army. On the 29th of October 1918, the Croatian Sabor declared independence from Austria-Hungary and decided to join the newly formed state of Slovenes. Croats and Serbs, which on the 1st of December 1918 entered into union with the Kingdom of Serbia and formed the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes. Initial Croatian zeal for the new state faded away as the Republican view of a new state was ignored, and especially since the concept of Greater Serbia was put in practice during the early 1920s, under the Yugoslav premiership of Nikola Pasic. Using tactics of police intimidation and vote rigging, he diminished the role of the oppositions to his government in parliament, creating an environment for centralization of power in the hands of the Serbs in general and Serbian politicians in particular. Police violence further alienated Croats, who began to ask for their own state. In 1928, Stepan Radic and 5 other Croat politicians were shot in National Assembly in Belgrade by a Serb deputy. Enraged by continuous Croatian claims that they were exploited by Serbia and that Serbia is treating them like a colony, this led to the dictatorship of King Alexander in January 1929. The dictatorship formally ended in 1931 when the king imposed a more unitarian constitution and changed the name of the country to Yugoslavia. The HSS, now led by Vlatko Maček, continued to advocate federalization of Yugoslavia, resulting in the Cvetković-Maček Agreement of August 1939 and the autonomous Banovina of Croatia. World War II. In April 1941, Yugoslavia was occupied by Germany and Italy. During World War II, present-day Croatia was governed by the pro-Axis Ustaša movement, which sought to ethnically cleanse Serbs, Jews, Roma, and many others from territory controlled by the so-called independent state of Croatia, thus committing a genocide. The Simon Wiesenthal Center estimates that at least 100,000 Serbs, Jews, Roma, anti-fascist Croats, and others were murdered in Jasenovac concentration camp alone. Following the victory of Yugoslav partisans, who were led by the Croat Josip Broz Tito, the Ustaša and the Chetniks were defeated and both countries became part of SFR Yugoslavia. War of Independence. The period of 1991 to 1995 is marked as the Croatian War of Independence, a self-proclaimed Republic of Serbian Krajina, created as a nation-state for ethnic Serbs living on Croatian territory, was occupied by the remnants of the Yugoslav People's Army from 1991 to 1992 and was supported by the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia through military support. The reason for the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia to support the Republic of Serbian Krajina against Croatian forces were due to common interests in upholding the status quo of keeping ethnic Serbs of former Yugoslav territories united, either within the extant Yugoslav state or as satellite states serving as proxies to Belgrade. Post-war relations. After the end of the Croatian War of Independence, the two countries established diplomatic relations on September 9, 1996. Croatia filed a genocide lawsuit against Serbia at the International Court of Justice in 1999, and after Zagreb declined requests to withdraw it, Belgrade filed a countersuit in 2010. Both lawsuits were dismissed on February 3, 2015, but International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia found that the crimes committed against the Croats were undoubtedly committed by Serbian forces and the Yugoslav army, but they were not committed with genocidal intent, so they are not considered genocide according to the court's definition of genocide. Border dispute. Due to the meandering of the Danube, the eastern border of Baranja with Serbia according to cadastral delineation is not followed, as each country controls territory on the side of the main river flow. Further south near Vukovar and near Sarandgrad, there are two river islands which have been part of senior Croatia, but during the war they came under Serbian control. Croatia is asking that the islands be returned because of the bad Inter-Arbitration Committee decision from 1991 that all internal borders between Yugoslav republics have become international. Serbia's position is that the natural border between the countries is the middle of the main flow of Danube, which would make the islands Serbian territory. Military occupation of the islands ended recently after an incident in which Serbian military opened fire and arrested the mayor of Vukovar, Vladimir Stengel, with 19 other Croatian civilians and 8 children who were going to visit Zvezdan Kizik, the mayor of the Serbian town Baka Palanka. These islands are now under Serbian police control. Consulate General of Serbia in Vukovar. Serbia established a diplomatic mission in Vukovar, Croatia on the 5th of February 1998, 20 days after the end of the reintegration process of Eastern Slavonia, Baranja and Western Sirmia into Croatia, which was the end of the Croatian War of Independence. The consulate is responsible for 5 Slavonian counties: the Vukovar-Sirmia County, Osijek, Baranja, Brod Posavina, Požega Slavonia and Virovitička-Podravina County. Due to the huge interest of local citizens, in the beginning consulate operated also in Belje Manastir. The consulate is at the end of the war played a very positive role in the life of the local Serbian minority in the city and region. Representatives of the consulate are frequent interlocutors of local and national media when it comes to issues of protection and promotion of Serbian identity in the Danube region. Consulate organizes and participates in various cultural and educational projects and humanitarian actions, some of which are celebration of the signing of Erdut Agreement, showing of documentary films, donation of equipment, organizing concerts, etc. On the occasion of 150th anniversary of the birth of Nikola Tesla, Consulate was, in conjunction with the U.S. Embassy in Zagreb, co-financed Days of Nikola Tesla in Osijek. Over time the consulate achieved close cooperation with minority institutions and organizations such as Joint Council of Municipalities, Eparchy of Osijek-Opolje and Baranja, and Radio Borovo. International organizations. Both countries are full members of the Southeast European Cooperation Process, of the Stability Pact for Southeastern Europe, of the Central European Initiative, of the Southeast European Cooperative Initiative, and of the Organization of the Black Sea Economic Cooperation. Croatia also supports accession of Serbia to the European Union. Popular culture. Rivalry in basketball. A big rivalry in basketball started since the first important big match within the European Championships just after the split of Yugoslavia. Croats were leading by 2 and there were only 4 seconds left. Serbian Sasa Djordjevic took the ball and made a three-pointer, making Serbia win the game and then successively become the European champion. Afterward, on Euro Championship 2001, Croats were heavily beaten by 88-60. Last match on big competitions was World Championship 2010, where Serbia also won 73-72. This rivalry went on also to clubs. Serbian clubs dominate in regional league, where they won 9 times, and Croatian club won only 1 title, particularly at the final game of the regional ABA League with Partizan from Serbia and Cibona from Croatia. This time the Croats were leading just 0.6 seconds before the end of the game. When all seemed finished, the Serb from Partizan, Kekman, took the ball and made it from the other side. The Serbian team won again. Rivalry in football. Rivalries between Croatian and Serbian football contenders became especially famous to the world in the early 1990s, starting with the historic Dinamo Zagreb Red Star Belgrade riot, which emphasized in some people's eyes the breakup of Yugoslavia. The Croatian national football team and the Yugoslav national football team played on only a few occasions, the first being in 1999 for UEFA Euro 2000 qualifying Group 8. Nevertheless, the rivalry between the two teams has been described as one of fiercest in the world. 14 years later, for the first time in history, Serbia as an independent country played national team against the Croatian team on March 22, 2013 in qualification Group A of the 2014 FIFA World Cup. The match, which Croatia won 2-0, was closely followed around the world. The football federations of Serbia and Croatia agreed to ban foreign guests fans at the two games because of security concerns. Later, Croatia drew Serbia 1-1 in Belgrade, which meant Serbia was disqualified. During the match, Miralem Suleimani, who was in a goal-scoring opportunity, was knocked down by a tactical tackle from Josip Šimunić, for which he was given a red card. Croatian stance on Kosovo.